Now, let's talk about D2 really quickly. I want to go through my game of the week, and then, we'll give, the scores for D2 after that. I had 2 D2 games. I had the D2 games of the year. I had Bowie versus Virginia Union, and I had Albany State versus Benedict. I was 1 of 1. All right. I was right on one, wrong on the other one. But if you really listen to what I had to say last week, I wasn't too wrong. So let's start out with what I was wrong about, because I want the smoke. Like I'm wrong. I'm human. All right. So Albany definitely lost to Benedict 24-20. And that game was on HBCU League Pass Plus. Shout out to the home team. It was exciting seeing that on HBCU League Pass Plus and seeing the SIAC get that recognition. So Benedict has beaten the final boss in the SIAC. They went through Savannah State. They went through Fort Valley. And the final boss, like I said, and I've said this for weeks, Ariel, I've been consistent. The final boss was Albany, and they beat him. Now it's like the end of a superhero movie. Now they ride out to the sunset, and they're going to ride right into the SIAC championship, because they ain't losing no other games. Because their next 3 games to close the season are against Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, and Allen. They're not losing to any of those 3 teams. And the only team I could possibly see them lose against, where they sort of like let their foot off the gas, is Allen. That's the only one. But to talk about the game, Zaire Scotland had a way better game than he did, the previous weeks, because he was under 100 yards for like the past 3-4 weeks. He had 105 yards on 22 attempts. And Eric Phoenix, I love Eric Phoenix, man. He had a great game, 253 yards, 22 or 28 passing, 1 passing and rush touchdown, but 2 touchdowns. He threw an interception, but he had an immaculate game. He was only sacked twice. And if you watch that game, he was able to maneuver around the pressure. They were bringing pressure up the middle. They were bringing pressure on the edges. He would see it. He would tuck that ball. He would run. He would scramble. He would dance in the pocket enough to pass the ball and make it happen. He did not let the pressure really get to him, although he was sacked twice. That's all you want from your quarterback, especially in a game where it's more about field positioning more than being high scoring, because that game was about field positioning. Like, the run was getting them set up to get field goals. The run was setting them up, to try to go for touchdowns. But it was a defensive game like I predicted. Albany, honestly, they were Benedict's biggest rival. I don't think they'll face a tougher opponent. But even still, I don't think that Tuskegee or Lane is on the level of Albany. I think that for Benedict, Albany is their Valdosta. Like, you beat Albany, they're the SIAC champions. Like, they have an amazing defense. You were able to overcome them. They're holding their certain teams to 11 points. You scored 24. They're holding teams, to these low rushing yards, and you rushed for 105 yards. Like they had 6 running backs they deployed, and Zaire Scotland got back on track against Albany. And they started the game, Mario, and I honestly, my jaw dropped. They started the game with 2 touchdowns. They said, you want a passing touchdown? Bet. Here you go. You want a rushing touchdown? Bet. Here you go. And that was the first team that Albany really allowed to score on them like that. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Y'all got me. All right, y'all got me. And I watched that Union game like, don't let me be 0-2. Please let me be 0-2, Union. And they weren't. Like, Union came through for me. But I'm like, Benedict gonna win this game, because Albany can't score like that. And that's just the truth. Like, they can't, Albany scored, like they blew out Fort Valley. And I know the motivation as to why, and I think it was powerful because they were doing a tribute to their teammate that passed away. I think that's powerful. But when they play good teams, they don't tend to score all that much. You know what I'm saying? They hold teams to under. Like, even FAMU had 23 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, FAMU had a low point total. You know what I'm saying? So they normally hold their teams low point totals, but they're not going to score 40 on you. They're not going to score 50 on you. They might not score 30 on you, but they're going to make sure you don't get 10. They're going to make sure you don't get 17. They're going to make sure you don't get a bunch of touchdowns, and that's how they win, and Benedict just broke through. That doesn't mean that Benedict had a crazy offensive game, but Benedict found a way to get their guys in the end zone. Like, that first play, they played Albany like a fiddle. A play action situation where you fake the run, you're right there, like the 3-yard line, you fake the run, and then you pass it in for a touchdown. I was like, y'all didn't even expect that. Y'all thought they was going to run, because the game plan said they were going to try to run that in, and they didn't. And they got you. I was like, man, Because I watched it back, I'm like, Benedict had Albany's number. So I was wrong. Overall, I was wrong. Eric Phoenix is amazing. Eric Phoenix might be the best quarterback in the SIAC. And then you have Zaire Scotland that finally bounced back. And I'm pretty sure he's going to put up some amazing numbers against Morehouse, against Clark Atlanta, against Allen. And I want to say this for Benedict. I'm happy for them because as a Fort Valley alum, I want to see something new. We've seen Albany dominate the SIAC. We've seen Fort Valley broke through in 2016. We won the SIAC. In 2017, we made it to the SIAC championship and lost to Tuskegee. I want to see something new. And in the West, how it's looking, I think Tuskegee probably makes it out. I was excited for Lane, especially after they beat Tennessee State, but then you lose to Kentucky State. I don't think Kentucky State is going to make it. I think it's still Lane's contest, but I just think Tuskegee makes it. So I think you're going to see Tuskegee versus Benedict, and you're going to see, once again, Benedict, the upstart team, coached by Coach Berry, that's going to run the ball. They're upstarts, like they're going for it all. They have nothing to lose. They want to make history for their school, get their first championship, make the playoffs. Tuskegee is one of the most successful programs in HBCU history. D1, D2, D3, it don't matter. They're one of the most successful programs in HBCU history. I think we're gearing up to see an amazing and compelling matchup in the SIAC. And if Benedict beats Tuskegee, I don't know what to tell you. We might be seeing like a dynasty setup. I don't know, because Barry is going in. Coach Barry, he's going in. He can coach some running backs, man. And unless the school steals him away, I think Benedict has proven to the SIAC this is their conference. But we're going to see. I'm not going to say that it's their conference yet because Tuskegee's the blue blood, but they beat Albany. So we'll see what happens. Now, Bowie versus Virginia Union. Man, listen, I'm starting to learn me some football, man. Y'all going to stop playing with me. I'm about to take these picks to the bank. Okay? When Stacey Abrams legalizes gambling, I'm probably not going to gamble, but vote for her, though, because she might do that. You know, so we had a whole show about that. So go vote for her. We go watch that show and y'all see why y'all need to vote for her. But man, listen, like I was right about this. I honestly was right, because here's what I said on last week. I said I picked Virginia Union, and I said this game will be an all-time defensive battle, but Jada Byers is still going to do great things, and Union's going to squeak out a win, en route to winning the CIAA championship and making the D2 playoffs. What happened? Jada Byers had 277 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Now, they kept him out the end zone, but Jada Byers got wherever he wanted to go. That defensive line was like a door. He just opened the door and ran through. It was like a door. I'm sorry, boo. It's the truth. Like when it was Jada Byers out there, it was like a door. And y'all held him sometimes. I'll give him that. But one of them plays, I thought he really was about to run from like the other end zone to the other end zone and just score. I was like, is this a punt return? Like, yo, giving him wide open space. So it's like Jada Byers is that guy, and I knew that he would be the X factor. Because once again, like I said with the Benedict Albany game, the running game put them in position. Now, granted, it wasn't a high-scoring game. It was 27-24, and you had Brandy Myers that kicked the field goal for the win. And I honestly was like, is it going to go in? This ain't Justin Tucker now. He ain't there yet. Like, it's going in? It went in. And I was like, they beat Bowie. I picked them, but Bowie did not go out without a fight. Because here's what happened. Virginia Union went up 17-9 to start the third quarter. And I'm like, okay, Union's about to pull away. It's about to probably stay this point total. They might get a field goal. It'll be 29. Bowie then scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to get back in the game and take it to overtime. And then Bowie had the football to start overtime. They didn't connect. Virginia Union's rush defense kept them out the end zone just for them to get down there. And then that field goal happens for Union. Like, it was a game. This lived up to all of the hype. At points, the Albany game drug along a bit because it wasn't a high-scoring game. But with this game, it was so high stakes because both defenses were going crazy, and the run was what pulled through. So I was right, because Jada Byers is a Harlan Hill Trophy candidate. If he don't win, we're going to riot. Not January 6th, just on social media, okay? We're not going to do January 6th on this one. But listen, like, we're going to riot because it's like he has to get into the final contention. If Shedeur Sanders getting the Heisman, like, I need for Jada Byers to get number 2 at the very least. Because what player in D2, I don't care, Gulf Coast South, I don't care, whatever. Valdosta's terrible this year too, by the way. They let anybody run. That's why Ariana and I are going to start a 2-person offense, and we're going to run past Valdosta. Valdosta's terrible this year, and Jada Byers started it off. We're going to finish it. Valdosta's terrible. I don't care who is. Ferris State, they doing real good. I don't care who it is. Jada Byers is that guy. It's the time. It's the time to do it. Jada Byers, it has the numbers. He has the flashy plays. He's even performing better than he did last year. There's no reason why Jada Byers should not, at the very least, be in the running for the Harlan Hill, if not winning outright. But I know we got to see what happens. I think they're going to win their next few games. They're going to play Virginia State at the end of the season. You know, they're going to play Chowan. Chowan might be interesting because Chowan's actually been a pretty good team. That might be a better game than we anticipate. But I believe that they're going to win out. They're going to make it to the CIAA championship. They're going to play Fayetteville State. And I think Fayetteville State plays better, but Virginia Union's going to win. And they're going to make the playoffs. And when they make the playoffs, I don't know what's going to happen. Because a lot of these D2 programs in these other regions, they ain't looking all that good. So I don't know what'll happen. And we might see some history going on. So I was right. Like, y'all got to put some respect on this D2 football knowledge, okay? I was right. I was right about Valdosta versus Union because I told you I was going with Valdosta, and what happened? Valdosta giving up all these yards, and they losing this season. And what happened in this game? I told y'all what was going to happen, and I told you it wasn't going to be a blowout. It was going to be close. And it was. They need to stop playing with me, y'all. They need to stop playing with me. I'm taking this to the bank once State Haven wins.
Do you have like the clap? Because
I don't.
You deserve the round of applause. I'll clap for you. I'll clap for you. The round of applause. Also have to say, don't pull me into your mess. I guess that's what it means to be part of a team. We're gonna make a 2-team running offense.
We're gonna run against Valdosta. No, let's do that. Like, you can't for A&T. Y'all know about run offense. Listen, I'll be the quarterback. I'll pass it off to you. You know what I'm saying? I give it to you like, hey, I do a toss. I tell you a toss, and you just run up there, get a touchdown. Because Valdosta, anybody can score on Valdosta's by running through them. Like that defensive line ain't doing nothing for them at all. And we love to see it because Valdosta has beaten every HBCU that they've seen except for Albany and except for Virginia Union. And they beat Union last year. You have no idea, as someone that is in Georgia, that's seen them in the playoffs. They beat Bowie. They've beaten Albany before. They've beaten Savannah State. They've beaten Fort Valley. They've beaten CIAA teams. So to finally see somebody run through them and then see that was the start of the problem, and possibly Jada Byers might have been the one that gave the key. Because if you look at it, it's a lot of these teams against Valdosta that have just been consistently running the ball, and they've run up the total. We talked about it last week. I think Jada Byers and Ferris State showed everyone Valdosta cannot contain the run. Just run, and you're going to be just fine. So, Jada Byers is doing a great job, and I think that, in general, the D2 playoffs are going to get interesting because your superpowers, Ferris State is doing great. Ferris State's doing great, so we'll see who plays Ferris State. But, honestly, our superpowers aren't looking like superpowers. And now you have legitimate SIAC and CIAA teams. They all could make it. Like, what stops Fort Valley from making it if they beat Albany? What stops Fort Valley from making it? What stops Albany from making it if they win out the rest of their schedule, they beat Fort Valley? Even though they don't make the SIAC championship, what stops them from making it? I don't know. And now at this point, you have to look at, okay, so you have this super region, the CIAA is in the super region, the SIAC is in the super region. How are you going to play that? Because I honestly think that there are several teams that deserve it, even based on who they've beaten, the points they put up, the defense, the outstanding players. The Posters have to make it happen. But we'll talk about that more later because I don't think that they will. But Fort Valley, Albany, you have Bowie, you have Benedict, you have Fayetteville State, you have Union. Like, they all deserve a spot. It's going to probably be, I think it'll be 4 teams. But if it's 2, most likely Benedict wins out, Union wins out, including the championships, and they make it. But I think that D2 is going to be very interesting.